Okay. So welcome once again. Some of us are just joining. Let me quickly admit I'm doing this intentionally so that I can map our student. Okay, so just as I earlier stated, thank you all for joining early. Tonight's session is a live session and it speaks to how to clean data as well as analyze using pivot tables. We have our facilitator in our midst already, and he's going to take us through this within the next 2 hours. The class is scheduled to end by 8 p.m. latest. He could finish earlier, and that will allow us ask questions in the course of this training. But what we have decided to do is to allow us engage, like follow his teaching, watch closely, and then we'll have a time for questions. So after this training, the video will be uploaded to our YouTube platform for you to watch again and practice yourself. So if you now have questions afterwards, all the expert facilitators are in the group. You may not know them, but they are there in the group. So by the time this session is done, I'll introduce him officially in our group, the paid group now, so that you can drop your charts if you need clarification. I also can guide you, and the others there can guide you. We are all hands-on when it comes to Microsoft Excel skills, so that you can master this. You shouldn't, after this week or after this challenge, not be able to address any questions or any problem that had to do with pivot tables again. Like, you should be able to manage it. I was still giving a task yesterday at work, and my CFO needed it urgently. And when he was saying, Toby, I want you to do this analysis, this, that, this is the data, he sent it to me, and of course it was a simple task. So I was left with two options. Should I use advanced Excel formulas? I should just use pivot table. Which one would be faster? So I realized pivot table would be faster, and I used pivot table. And within a short space of time, I was able to deliver, and he was able to present, to the CEO what he needed to do. And it was the agenda for that request within less than 2 hours, everything was completed, both the report as well as the presentation. So imagine if you don't even know what to do in the first place. At that point in time, you can't go and start looking at a YouTube video to guide you on what to do when a very senior stakeholder is waiting for a report. And these guys are very busy, so they really don't have time. You can't then begin to delay them because probably you don't know how to go about what they've asked you to do. So this is a good opportunity, and I just want you guys to maximize it. I know we all have been consistent, and we just want to encourage us to be much more consistent. Next week will be more difficult. Well, don't let me say difficult, but it will be more engaging than what you have gone through week 1. And then week 3 will be much more, but week 4 will be wrapping up. So we'll have other engagement beyond the Excel proper. We'll have our soft skills session and some other discussions for that week, as well as your capstone project. So thank you so much. Before I introduce our facilitator tonight, he should come on board within the next 4 minutes. Have the floor rather. Can I have just 1 or 2 persons share while the others can drop your feedback in the chat? How has it been? How has this session been to you as a person? This first week, have you been able to learn something? All what we created together for you in terms of the open source videos and all these things, were they helpful? Of course, Core 2, we have much more advantage because we'll evolve the whole thing, and it will improve upon the feedback of this first cohort. But I believe even this first cohort, you guys have been able to gain something. So I would like to hear from one person, that bold person, to just unmute. Go ahead and unmute. You don't even need permission to unmute. Just go ahead and unmute and let's hear you. Who is the person that wants to unmute? Or you can use the chat. Maybe where you are is noisy. Please go ahead and use the chat. How has it been? Have you learned something this week? I know just few of us have been able to submit our final project. Okay, the videos were helpful and okay, but it's just the time because of job. I understand, Elvis, I understand. Just don't give up. It's self-paced. It's self-paced. You are making progress. We can see that, but just don't give up. Maximize this month to become, at least if not an advanced user, get to that level where you're already a pro user, a basic user. You know, you are able to solve problems with Excel. You're able to get jobs, data sets, and create meaningful outcome using those data sets for your stakeholders, your reporter, your direct report, or even as a side, let's say a side also, as will teach us by the 4th week. Okay, so any other thought? It can't just be Elvis out of about 50 something participants. I would like to hear from the rest, but I need one person to unmute. I just want to hear a voice. Like, can you speak to what you have learned? Please go ahead if you are unmuted. Okay.
Yeah.
Wale, please go ahead.
So week one is it was been very good. At least now I'm able to have a structured approach to a couple of things that I've actually known before,
Awesome.
but there are certain just a little bit more, not just a little bit more, some quite more. For example, in the I think it's in the data sorting, there is another like a deeper level rather than just the common where you just click on the sort data and you just sort the data, but you can sort it a lot more sophisticated approach towards doing things and a lot more
Fantastic.
structured. Yeah.
Yeah, so glad to hear this. So glad to hear this. And thank you so much, Wally. The truth is you guys will get more in the weeks ahead. Yeah. So just sit back and make sure you are making progress. They might look simple, but you are refreshing your memory, particularly if you are an intermediate or advanced user prior to now and you join the challenge. There are rewards for those who are consistent. So I will encourage us to just do everything we ask you to do. So it's time, my time is up here for introduction. So just to give us a brief about housekeeping, try to put your phone on do not disturb, particularly if you are using a mobile network device, so that a call coming in will not interrupt you. Aside from that, try to be in a distraction-free environment. If you are driving, please, we encourage you to face the road. Forget what we are discussing here and face your task. Or probably you are doing something that requires your attention. Please, it will be nice if we can leave that thing and focus, but just know that this is recorded and you have access to it, full access, lifetime access to it after now. So thank you so much, everyone. IK, please confirm you are in already. Confirm you can hear me. I will stop sharing now so as to hand over to you.
Okay. I can hear you.
Fantastic. So IK is a friend and is also an expert to Analytic Mastery Group, and is one of our experts, and is here to be with us for as long as possible. Beyond Microsoft Excel, is sound on Microsoft SQL, Power BI, and some of these other analytical tools. So he's our first expert to take us through basic data cleaning as well as pivot tables this evening. We encourage every one of us to pay utmost attention, keep your questions, and then we'll have time for that. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, IK, for having you. It's a privilege to have you here and for honoring our invitation to be part of our expert within the AMG community. Thank you. So you have the floor now. You can chat me up in case you need my support for anything. I'll be here all through the course time. Thank you. You have the floor.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. So glad to be here. So yeah, as you said, uh, big term expert, but it can do. It's not rocket science. So I'm just trying to share my screen. Just having a little bit of difficulty, but yeah, just a moment. Let me get this. Just hold on. Sorry. Right. Daniel, please, can you share like the PowerPoint presentation briefly? I don't know. I'm just even as a host, I'm having difficulty sharing on my browser. Daniel, can you hear me?
Okay, no problem. I can. We'll do that right away. And also your voice, I don't know, maybe it's from my end. If you can also increase the volume,
Not
maybe
clear.
it's
Okay,
faint.
I'll
It's
speak
a
up.
bit faint from my end.
Okay, I'll speak up. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Don't. Sorry about that. Okay. So I
So
hope everyone can hear me.
we will share
Please just
now.
try and share your screen.
We will share now.
Yeah.
Just give me a few minutes. Okay. So just I'm trying to work on that, trying to source for the where is it again? Okay. Okay, I'm almost done with that. Just a few more minutes and it's shared. Okay. Oh. Okay, IK, you can check again now. Apologies. I was the cause of that delay. I did not update the settings, my sharing settings. So please check again. You should be able to share from your end now, though we'll have a backup here in case you need me or Desmond, who is one of the admin as well. You can check now. You should see the green icon now because it will be very nice for you
I'm
to share so
checking.
that
It
we
has not
can
yet
follow.
turned on.
Okay, you still can't see it.
Okay. Yeah, I
Okay, no
still
problem.
can't see it.
We'll share from here so as to save time. We'll share from here.
Okay. Let me try and enter through my other system. All right. But you can share the PowerPoint first. Let me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So please, I also request every one of us, let's name ourselves. Please, I can see someone with Zoom user. We wouldn't really like you to retain your name as Zoom user. So please rename yourself using your name. We are aware of who Spatial Logistics is already. That is Spatial Logics rather. So Zoom user, can you name yourself maybe with your business name or better still, your personal name? So please confirm you can see the screen now. Sorry. Okay. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. IK, I'm sharing now.
Ricky?
Okay. IK, are you there? Okay. I guess our facilitator is having maybe a network challenge or so. Okay, so while we await our facilitator to join back, the slide is just to establish a background. This is a practical class, and We'll be going through the data set, and then it will walk us through how to go about it. Ike, as soon as you come back online, please let me know so that you can proceed. So when you look at this, the topic is data cleanup and pivot tables in Excel. And the essence of this is to guide you through the essential processes of data cleanup and analysis using Excel power tools, from identifying and handling duplicates to creating insightful pivot tables and charts. We'll explore the steps for transforming raw data into meaningful information. And this knowledge is a very, very crucial knowledge that you need as an aspiring analyst, whether you're a finance analyst, data analyst, or business intelligence analyst, whichever category you find yourself in practice. Okay. So whichever category you find yourself, you need this skill. So our facilitator is having a challenge backend. He just chatted me up. So while he comes back, let me just run you through this introduction because of time. We don't want to exceed our time. He's joining back shortly. So these are just the intro. And then this is the first task he will be looking at shortly. And since he's joining, let me just stop here so that he can take us through it by himself. He's joining back shortly. Apologies for this back and forth. We are all okay. I'm not sure he planned for this, so he's entering now. Zoom user, I observe you are still named as Zoom user. Please, let's check our names and update. Zoom user update. We need you to update your name so we can identify all participants with a name or their business names. Please, can you rename yourself, Zoom user? How to do that? Just click on your name, right click, you will see rename. And once you see rename, just write whatever name you want to give yourself. That name is what you will have all through this session. Please, can you do that? Can you do that now? Zoom user, thank you. So Ike, over to you, please. I've just done a brief introduction of the course, so you can proceed. Please confirm you can hear me, Ike. Am I still audible?
Yes, you are audible,
Yes,
but
sir.
I don't think he's in the meeting again. So probably contact him
No, he
through
is. He's
WhatsApp.
in the meeting. We're actually chatting. So I guess there was that. Okay, he's back up now. Ike, confirm you can hear me. We are not hearing you. Hello, Ike. Okay, I assume there's a network challenge that back there. So what, Ike, while you fix that, let me just run the team through the slide. So as soon as you are fully back, just you can speak to interrupt me, and then I hand over to you because of time. Let me run the team through the slide while you take the practical session because of time. So just as I was saying earlier, what we are looking at is, please give me a few minutes. Okay. So I'll do this in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and then our facilitator will take us through the practical section. He's here with us, but he's trying to close out some of the challenges in terms of switching his network so as to get better value across to us. So please confirm you can hear me. Am I still audible? Can someone hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you. So just as we earlier stated, we are looking at cleaning data as well as pivot table. And one of the first things you will find out when it comes to managing data, or probably your first encounter with any data, is the fact that not all data set that comes to you have been cleaned. That's the word we use, cleaned. Like, before you commence your analysis, if you are working with a dirty data, your analysis you will have some roadblocks. Your analysis will not come out well. For example, you have data with a lot of spaces. You have data with, let's say, alphanumeric, star art, and some of these data that are not, letterings that are not accepted. For example, you have a data with dates that are in dot forms, like 29.10.2024. Meanwhile, if you rearrange it, you need to adjust it to a proper date setting in terms of the formatting. So you not being aware of this and just jump on the data and plug it to maybe a pivot table and all that will give you a wrong output. And that is why the need for us to clean data first is important. Aside from cleaning up your data, you also need to understand the place of you understanding the data. So removing unwanted characters and formats, of formatting, which is part of what you'll be taught this evening. Uniform capitalization, you need to apply the upper or lower functions to standardized capitalization. It will show you all of these things during the practical session. You need to learn, we'll be teaching you how to trim spaces, how to use the find and replace function. You did something like this that was on Thursday. On Thursday, if you followed some of the reference link we shared with us, you'd have encountered find and replace function. But today we are using a data set to explain to you how to go about this much more. In case you missed that particular day, you have an opportunity to learn this again. Formatting cells as well, just as earlier stated, aligning text, adjust font sizes, and using color. Also applying filters. Yeah, this is very important as you proceed as a data analyst. Also, identifying and removing duplicate data. There are some data you will encounter where they are duplicates. Imagine if your, let's say your direct report or your MD has asked you to create a presentation on, let's say, a data with just 4 names. Meanwhile, they are repetition. So if you proceed with those duplicates, it means that your final report will also have the duplicate. And then you miscommunicate, like you misinform your stakeholders because you'll be showing them a duplicated report. So, and in that case, they might not know, but if that report is audited afterwards, maybe someone suspected your report and then they want to audit it further, they may realize that, or they will realize that the data set in which you have used has duplicated items. So how do you even identify in the first place? Because you may have a data with, let's say, 100,000 rows. How then are you going to identify duplicates? Now to talk of removing them such that you don't remove the exact, like the correct data. In the course of you removing duplicates, you have not poured the water with the baby, as they say. Is it the Proverbs now? Yeah. As they say that, do not pour the water with the baby in it. So you are pouring the water only, not the baby. So in this case, you are removing duplicates and not all the relevant data. So identifying duplicates, selecting columns, and confirming removal is part of what you will learn. And also data validation is a basic function you need to understand as an aspiring analyst. So you also be taught how to go about this as well today. And aside from this, you would also learn how to go about pivot tables. Of course, this is where we are going to end today's discussion in terms of data aggregation, how to create dynamic reports using pivot tables, and also interactive explorations. So in terms of selecting data, how to go about inserting pivot table, and then you choosing location where you want your pivot table to rest, or probably where you want your analysis to take place, and then customizing your pivot table, the layout and filters, drag and drop fields, applying filters, sort values, formatting cells, and then how to generate pivot table chart and graphs in terms of bar chart, line chart, and pie chart. These are just like the 3 basic charts you need to know for now, and you can create a very attractive, well summarized and informative dashboard with just these 3 charts if you know how to go about it. And then data cleanup, they are pivot tables are powerful tools for extracting insight from raw data. By following these steps and best practices, you can transform your data into actionable information for decision making. That is the end point for decision making. Ensure accuracy, consistency, and proper formatting to maximize the effectiveness of your analysis. So thank you everyone for listening to that. Of course, I rushed it so that we can have enough time to go through the practice. Our facilitator will do justice to every other aspect of the training this evening. So let me stop sharing and then hand over the floor to IK. Okay, yes, I'm going to share that in the...
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are very audible, IK, loud and clear.
Finally.
Yes.
Okay.
So sorry for the stress. So
No, there's no.
you have the floor. So for the person asking for data set, as I earlier stated, the data set will be thrown into the paid group link. For every one of us, maybe that have joined from the community, you have access to download the data set via our YouTube page after now. We want you to concentrate. Because of the limited time, we may not be able, you may not be allowed to be working while the facilitator is taking you through this. So what we'll just suggest, this is not a live class, this is not an in-person class. So just watch what he's doing, note where you will need questions. After now, you get access to the video, and then you can create time tomorrow. Tomorrow is like a free day to all our learners in this challenge. Complete your weekly assignment tomorrow, your simple budget tracker, and then use the extra time to learn this using the data set. When you are done, upload it into your folder as we have advised. All of these things you will need to create your portfolio in the 4th week when we teach you how to go about this. So that's just the whole idea around some of these live classes and some of the tasks will be engaging. So pay attention, please. Pay attention so you can know where to ask questions while this activity or this session is going on. Thank you so much, everyone. IK, over to you. I will speak later on, but the facilitator will have the time till, at least for over the next 1 hour, till it calls my attention. That's when I'll come up again to talk to us. IK, over to you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Yeah. Pleasure to be here, to have this session with everyone. And seeing some familiar faces and new people, it's glad to be here. Yeah. So let me quickly share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, you can see us.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. So Daniel has done a whole lot of talk about it, but basically it's something that everybody can do. Yeah. So it's just a matter of just taking time to learn. And the awesome thing about Excel is that even as I'm still learning every day. New stuff are coming out. There's something called, I know the popular ones are VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. There's something called fuzzy lookup or something like that. Yeah. So new ways, new stuff come out every time. So this is just the data set, right? It's just a small data set that I made. Yeah, but basically I'll try to cover as much things as possible. Yeah, because our usage of Excel might differ from everybody here. Some might want to do the pivot table part. Some might not necessarily have to do it up to that extent, depending on your roles that you do. But it would be nice, especially if anything that you have to do has to do with numbers. It would be good to know how to, maneuver through Excel better. All right, so let me quickly start. So the first things first, right, is to try your best to align the rows and columns to everything to be in the perfect shape, order, make it look neat. So there are two ways, right? So let me show you the first step. If you look at the screen where my cursor is at the top left, we can click on here, it highlights everything. And with this, you can try to arrange the cells a bit. But this still has a little bit of drawbacks. You will need to arrange it with the cursor, and every other thing starts to shift into place, right? Even that for the columns and also for the rows. So you can do that also for the rows. Once you hit that, you see everything goes, right? But basically for me, I prefer this other place. Let me undo. That's Control Z, another Control Z. So I've come back to the original setting how everything is. So another way we can do this is we do Control A and we highlight everything here. And we can come here where you see format. When you go to format, you can see auto fit row height. It will arrange it for you. Auto fit column width. You see, it will arrange everything for you to make sure everything can show at a glance. That's the beauty about Excel. Excel knows some of your problems and want to make it easier for you to solve those problems. Yeah, that's how they made Excel now. Well, maybe with the help of AI over time. So they keep on iterating Excel and making it better and better, right? So now, if you see my first column left on the left, that's column A, and the address 2. So that's A2. Okay, so let me quickly explain. Every cell, what you see here, this A2 is what we call a cell address. For those that don't know, how we call a cell address. So now, if you look at the names, you are seeing that the names are there's a underscore between them. I want to get rid of them, right, and let it look far better and appreciable than this. So we can come to the next column and do insert. Another way of doing it is Control Shift plus. We have created two new columns and we want to separate this detail into two distinct names. So we want the first name and son name. First name, and here will be the son name. So to do this, you just need to highlight the column, or when you click, you can pull Control Shift down. Also, that will also help you highlight. But the only limitations with Control Shift down at times is if all the cells don't have a value. If there's a blank cell, it will stop just before the blank cell. Yeah, so that's another issue with using Control Shift down. So just for we to know it, unless if you are very sure that all columns have items, then you can do Control Shift down, Control Shift right, as the case may be. So now for this, once we highlight the column and we want to separate it, what we do, we go to the data tab up here. Under the data tab, we look for where we put text to column. Is a very useful tool when you want to separate a lot of things that are lumped together, right? So once we do text to column, it brings out a whole lot of things. But for this first part, just click next. Don't overthink it. Just click next, delimited. Now for this part, due to the fact that we have an underscore, so we go to order, right? And we type in the underscore to help us separate it, which is shift then minus. So you can already see from the result that is coming up that it has already helped us separate it. and we can click next. Then now for the cell destination, let's change it to here. That's B3, sorry, B2. Once we do that and we click finish, and our job is done, we are able to separate it into two cells, into two parts, the first name and the surname. Makes it very easy and straightforward for us. So now let's proceed. We can delete the previous column if you so choose, depending on what you want to do. But we have achieved that we are able to clean this up. We are able to clean up the names. It looks far more presentable and usable, as the case may be. Now, coming to column D, right? We see brands of phones. So let's title this as Basira's phone sales, daily phone sales. It can be anything. It can be anything you feel like naming it. Yeah, just to show for the example. So yeah, this is for phone sales made in a day, right? So Basira sold to certain customers, right? And the brand she sold it to is Samsung, Itel, Samsung Inc. But at the end of the day, Samsung Inc. and Samsung are the same thing. So let's say we want to correct this, right? So there's a formula called unique. We go to equals to unique. I'm getting somewhere. Just follow me. Tab. Now, we want to highlight this array, right? So now it has brought out the unique items here, right? So now we want to replace this Samsung Inc. with Samsung. So we use the find and replace function. So in the midst of these numbers here, we can use the find and replace. You can highlight it, come up onto the home tab and look for where you see find and select, and you can do replace. Now, replace Samsung Inc. as it is with Samsung, and you can do replace all. Sorry, that means I'm not putting it exactly as it is. That there's a space. All right. Okay. And it's supposed to change automatically. Sorry, hold on. Okay.
Capital letter I.
All right. Samsung Inc. Let me copy this cell exactly as it is. Then another shortcut is Control H. Can do that also to bring it out. So we have replaced it. Possibly that I think there was a space. That's why it affected it. Okay, and we also have Samsung Limited. We can do the same with that. Control H, copy. And it has replaced. So we have uniformity on all the Samsung now, which will make it easier for us when we want to do analysis, because it will be somehow that when you are trying to do analysis, you are seeing Samsung Inc., Samsung Limited, so different types of things. So things like that, no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be at all. So at least that is covered. So the next thing to look at is that if you look at the column for the product type, you see that everything seems to be somehow it's not how it's supposed to be. The letterings are not in order, the uppercase, lowercase are all scattered and it's not uniform. So one of the things we can do, let me insert a new cell. Sorry about that. Now you can do control shift plus to make a new cell, or you can highlight here also and put insert. So any which ways that you feel like, yeah, you might, but gradually when you start to use Excel a lot, you tend to learn some of these shortcuts to make it easier for you. Yeah. So let's say for the first column, we want to use uppercase. Let's say we want to change it to uppercase. Simply put upper. Go here, enter. See, it has changed everything to uppercase, as you can see. So let's say we want to, but the thing with just doing this, and let's say we want to undo, Control Z, Control Z, then we want to do lowercase. Sorry. Same thing. Everything becomes small letters. But this is not the most ideal way of writing things. And if you notice, there are a lot of spaces, right? So we need to get rid of those spaces because those spaces affect, especially when you want to use pivot tables. Because it will affect your calculations. It will see them, especially when you're having numbers and text. And if somebody sees all those spaces, it will lead to error values. And that's what we want to avoid. The more you avoid error values, the better your analysis. If not, you will not be able to give the most accurate details of things. Right. So let's say we want to trim the spaces. As you can see, there are a lot of spaces and everything just looks somehow, and it shouldn't be such. So let's trim it. With this, we'll remove any excess space that might be inside because some of all these things are data entry. And people on the field, or maybe people that use it, maybe it's an app that it backfeeds the information into Excel. Because for those of us that might be working, most people won't be using Excel maybe on the field or when you talk to customers. It depends on what people type into the system. And as they say, garbage in, garbage out. So whatever is typed is sent back. So that's why most times the data cleaning becomes necessary because mistakes can happen even from the best of us. So those are the things, right? So now trimming, and we press enter. You see that it has trimmed it. It has removed any extra spaces. It will remove every extra space in it. It makes it look better and neater. But now, there's another way of doing this that in one swoop, we can do everything at once. Control Z, sorry. Clear these contents. Thank you. Yes. Now, there's something called proper. Another way of writing the lower and upper cases, but proper case is that it ensures that it's only the first letter that is the upper case, right? So with that, we can rewrite it as how we usually see it when we sell phones, how they write it, proper way of writing, stuff like this. So the first letter is capital and the next letters are small letters. And there's something wonderful that we can do, that we can clean this thing in one swoop. So we don't have to write the formula twice. We can write it combined together. Equals to trim, tab, then proper, tab, and we do this. And you see, we have cleaned this data. And I noticed that we have some full stop. So we can go back to Control H, which is find and replace. And every full stop should be replaced with nothing. Yes, I want to replace all. I asked to do with that column. Okay, because we have already used the proper function. That's why it's not deleting it. But on a good day, everything's supposed to clean up properly. But yeah, so we have removed the extra spaces and we have aligned the text to look better than how it was before, right? So now, so let's rename this as product type. So I want to delete this previous cell since we are already. Oh, before I do that, very important. Command copy, Control C, and paste as values. Because if you say you delete here, very important. You see that it becomes ref because why? There's no more reference cell. So there is very important. Most times when you do an operation in Excel, all right, when you are doing your analysis and you need to discard a previous cell, if you really need to discard a previous cell, always copy and paste as values so that you will not lose vital information. So we can come here, paste special, under paste special, paste as values so that once we delete this, it won't affect what we just did. Very crucial and important. Most times people will just do copy paste. When you now want to go back, maybe in a hurry working, you'll now be looking, your calculation goes awry. Everything might just sour, all your hard work for hours. Yeah. And you will now be looking for where you went wrong, especially when you have very large data sets. That's why the essence of learning this stuff now. And once the video is made available, you can always rewatch it and understand what you need to do in situation like that. So I really don't need this column for now. Let me delete this. So I want to separate this column, right? And let me show another way of doing it rather than using text to column. You can still use text to column to do this. Right? You can always do it, but there are so many ways to kill a rat if that's the statement. So we can do another way. So let's say we insert a new column, start a new column. Yes. So we want to do something called flash fill. So let's say the first thing we write Abia and we write Southeast. Now, if you come to the cell under it, if you press Control E, it will fill the data that is immediately the first data on the left. And if you press Control E, which is the shortcut, it does that also here again, as you can see. So it's a very good tool. And if you don't know the shortcut offhand, come to data. It's there. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Flash fill. I know it's okay, probably because I've already done it, but it's usually here. You see flash fill, but the shortcut is Control E. So it's flash fill details. So we have separated it now into location, and let me rename this as region to make it easier because we will use the data to do pivot tables. So with that, we can actually delete this. Let's see. You can delete this column also if you so choose. Yeah, as we have done the flash fill. Now we have looked at percentage. We want to look at this fulfillment. So let's say we want to assume that if the customers, when they got the phone, some had the level of part payment. So this fulfillment is showing the level of part payments for the phones. And yeah, we want to make it look like percentages. But if we go straight and say we want to turn it to a percentage, you see that it's not right. It's giving us in thousands like that. So it does not really help us. It doesn't really make sense like this. So let me undo that. And let's say we want to do this. We highlight. We come here, we write 100. because percentages are always divided by 100. So I want to close this. And we want to make everything here a percentage. So we do Control C and we come here. We highlight. We come here. We want to paste. We come to go to paste special. Now under paste special, we come to divide. Once we come to divide and we press OK, it automatically divides everything by 100, as you can all see. And once we now press the percentage button, you see that everything is how it's supposed to be. Very, very easy. So let's just put that in mind. If you want to change a particular column to percentages, first of all, you can write the 100 somewhere, Control C, then come to the column, highlight the column, you do paste special. When you do that paste special, now scroll down, go to the operations. Under operations, use divide. Once you use the divide function, it automatically changes everything to decimal. Then you come up to the percentage icon and just click on the percentage icon and everything goes fine and easy for us for anything you want to do. Okay. Then another thing, yeah, that we can do for this column. Let's say we want to put a little bit more of some aesthetics to it. Not might not be so relevant depending on where you are. But if for some help, some level of visualization, we can come to conditional formatting. I usually use it at times. I want to show arrows to help us know, oh, who is doing fine, who is doing well, that sort of thing. Okay, we can use these arrows to identify who is doing good, who is doing bad. So let's say we want to use this, for example, then we'll come back here and we want to manage those rules. We want to make fit it what we want to do. So we come to like edit rule. And under this edit rule now, you can now put the values, the percentages as how you deem fit for you. So let's say for those that want to be green, you can say that you want anybody that has paid from 75% and has both as maybe a good customer or a good paying customer. And anybody that is 30 and below is a bad paying customer. As you so choose, and you press OK, and you press OK. You see it will align it for you. So on an instant, even if before you look at the numbers, you just look at the red, you already know that this person is doing poorly. Then those that are in orange are managing, they are just, they are not there yet, but at least they are in improved zone. Then those that are in green are doing spectacularly well. Yeah, it's just a little thing we can add to a little bit of visualization so that if anybody is looking at the data can start having a sense of knowing, oh, that this is what is going on. Yeah, because at the end of the day, most executives at that level, when Dan was talking about a CFO asking for information, most times they are not ready to look at all the necessary details. But if you know how to easily visualize things, it's easy for them to help them make those decisions. They don't have that time, as I said, most times they don't have time because most of their days is full of making meetings with other companies and other stakeholders and stuff like that. But I digress. And let's get back to what we are here for. Now, another thing that we can do, right, is to, let's say we want to get rid of these blanks. What we can do is Control A, we want to get rid of the blanks, right? And we do Control G, which is that is the go-to function. Under this Control G, right, we click Special. Under Special, we click Blanks, and we press OK. Now, even in the blanks, we can even color them with that. And normally, we don't, something like this, probably there's an error when they were computing it. So it would be good to get rid of these blanks. So we can do something like this. We do control minus. When we do control minus, we can now delete. So we want to delete this whole row. Probably is an error. It's not giving us what we need. right? So we can delete everything and we do OK. And once we do that, we have gotten rid of all those blank cells. So let me take it again. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now, as I said, Control A, we have highlighted everything. The next thing is Control G, then we go to Special. Based on the special, it depends on what you want to do. But for here, we want to just get rid of the blank cells. So on the blank cells, we can do OK. And if we want to visualize the blank cells, we can color it any color that we deem fit, right? And if we want to now delete these cells that has it, we'll just do Control minus. It will give us the option. Do you want to shift the left cells left? But most times it's to maybe delete a row, delete a column that it has error values. Yeah, because anything like that, it can affect your final results of what you want to do. I will click OK. Yeah, list I forget. Yes, duplicate values. So if we want to remove duplicate values, we can come here or any column or highlight everything as the case may be, right? Once we highlight, we can come to conditional formatting and we can say highlight cell rows. Under highlight cell rows, you can see duplicate value and you can highlight it and you see. Well, this is just a small set and normally I will not advise you to use name, right? It will be supposed to be a unique identifier, maybe an account number and stuff like that. When there's a repetition of account number, that is the best thing to use, a specific or unique identifier to a set to a particular row. It's not good to use name because one time somebody can have Betty or Ayomide, multiple Ayomides in your data set. That's why when you go to the bank, you are being known with your account number, not your name. Yeah, so something like this. And we want to get rid of this. We'll just come to data, and under data, we look for there, remove duplicates. And once we do that, it will tell you expand the selection. Yes, remove all duplicates. Yes, select all, and it has removed the duplicates for us. And we are good to go. So you can, that's a good way, at least with the conditional formatting, it will be easy for you to, okay, you have seen where the duplicates are, then you can just have an idea of how many duplicates, right? Then you can go to data and remove all duplicates. Makes it simple and easy. So yeah, so let's proceed. Now for the last column, we have this column called, this column, the pricing. But if you see from the pricing, instead of full stops, decimal points. I said full stop. Sorry about that. In here, it's meant to be like decimal points, but they are commas. A very quick way, right? We can do this depending on what you want to do, on how you want to do it. It depends on the information, right? Because in situations that it might not just be numbers, this way will not work. But if, for instance, now this has to do with numbers, it was because we want to make them to have values, numbers, right? We'll come here, we can do Control H, and we place all the commas with full stops, and we place all. As we've done that, you see that everything has become numbers, but it has rounded it up. So let's come to the decimal point here, up, and we increase the decimal place to give us our results. But another way, so that we know, not just because of this is a quick way. The normal way to do something like this, there are so many ways to do things in Excel. So let me do Control Z to get where we are. We can use like the substitute function. Now equals to substitute. We want to substitute as the commas, shifts, shift, then apostrophe again, comma, then want to sorry, for I made a mistake. I jumped the gun. Sorry, hold on. Okay, substitute, shift, comma, bracket opens, do this, comma, then want to substitute the commas there with full stops. That's the essence of what we are doing now. So as you can see, we have made the comma into a full stop. This is more applicable because when you are dealing with multiple data and stuff that you want to change, so it works in any kind of situation. Whether you want to replace ampersand, underscore, or whatever you want to replace it with, you can use this. Now, as you can see, I've highlighted this, but still yet I am not having numbers. Normally, once you highlight like this, on the down part, you're supposed to be seeing sum, average, and so many other details. It will help you start doing the statistics of maybe the average, the mean, and stuff like that. So now, what we want to do is that we want to convert this to numbers. We put value and we do this and we press enter. So now we now have numbers. So as you can see the difference now, let me close this. You can see that it's already giving us the sum, it's giving us average, it's giving us the count, all the necessary details for us to know, right? So we don't need this. We can delete this now. Just trying to be fast to make sure that we can touch everything. Oh, see, I also made the mistake. I didn't do copy and paste as values. So Control C and paste as values. I think the shortcut should be Alt HVV or Alt HV. Yeah, for paste. So you can still look it up. But I usually use my um I've not yet crammed. Let me just put I've not yet crammed the shortcut for that. And this we don't need this. All right. So I don't need these columns too. I'm trying to clean it up to style my work a bit better. I don't need this. Yeah, so I can name this price. So now, you know that with this, it makes our work, yes, we have cleaned the work, but it's still looking a bit bland. And we want to put some style into it. So we can come here, let's say the top place, we want to make it look a bit more presentable, right? And we come up here, we want to fill the color. Let's fill it with the color, the header. Let's say we want to make it this, and want to change the writing to white so that it will stand out compared to the others. And let's say, what can we do again? Okay, let's bold it, add a bit, increase the font a bit, so that it will look to stand out a bit more. But basically, this is just to make it look better. And yeah, then Control A, we can add borders to it. So we can put thick borders, outside borders, and we can do this. You can see it's a bit more presentable. Depending on how you want to style it, you can put all borders around. But let's say, for instance, but one of the surest way to make sure that your data is safe and everything is in good working condition and undoing everything. Another way that this data like this, you can come to here, you see format as table. You see they have numerous table styles, right? So let's say we pick this. It has headers, yes, thank you. And automatically it gives us this style. And with this, you can choose so many other styles of how you want to do the table. And you can rename the table. When you do Control A, you can always rename the table if you like. But yeah, but that's by the way. But this helps us, especially when we want to do our pivot tables, we want to do analysis. Because if, for instance, I want to have a new cell, automatically it will help me arrange it, do everything well, and you can type whatever you want to do. That's the sweet part of making things stable. And it is better most times, especially when you are working with very large data sets, to convert things like this to tables. Yeah, it will help you so that it will minimize your errors, makes it automatically fill stuff up for you, details. Yeah, once you just do a new thing, it automatically just fill all the cells. You don't need to, it will help you skip some extra stress when you're analyzing your data. So let's say we are done, we have cleaned the data, it looks more presentable, it looks neater. Now you want to do charts to actually show um, some analysis based on this data. Yeah, but real life you do far more difficult analysis, right? Because the situation I've worked with on a data set of over 800 rows. Yeah, so things like this is not really common, but it's just for us to get the idea and we can practice it. Once you get tougher sets, hit us up on the platform, on chat. We'll be very willing to help everyone get there. All right, so I want to insert a pivot table. So we come to insert, we come to pivot table from table. So automatically it will highlight all your data, right? And best to put it on a new worksheet so that it will not be also here. So once we do okay, it will take us to the new sheet. Now on this new sheet, so let's say we want to look at the sales numbers for each region based on the customer. So since we have at least more than one region represented, I think that would be the best thing to use. But first and foremost, I would like to let me use the first name. Now, under here, normally things that has to do with price are values. We want to see the aggregate or the summation of these numbers because that's what most times management want to see. They want to see, especially when it comes to money, right? We want to see how much are we making and maybe the count of how much of what has been done. So those are the two things that most times they want to see: numbers and the sum, that's the aggregate value of the money coming in, and probably the number of transactions. Most times when it comes to financial numbers like that. So now on for price, which is our main thing that is going to be looked at, we can bring it down under values. Already we know from this that it's about 2,000 plus, and let's say it's in dollars, not naira. These values are in dollars or euros, not naira. This is almost valueless right now in the current Nigerian situation, but that's by the way. All right, so now we have some of value or price, and we can always try to rename here. We can also rename it, but let's continue. Then another thing we can put, okay, location under the rows column. So under the rows, you can see each state and how they are doing. Then another thing we can add to this to add an extra filter to it, this is region. Let me take this up, move it up so that it will look better. So with this, it gives you an idea of how it should be. So now, under the North Central, only one sale happened in Kwara. Under South is only one sale happened in Abia. South side was Bayelsa and Edo. So it starts giving you a bit more leverage. Oh, you are starting to understand it. Okay, see what is going on. So each region, this is what happened. This is how much was brought in per region and stuff like that. So already it's giving you more meaning to what the data should be like. Then another thing we can do, now if you see this filter option is free. So we can add more stuff to it. We can even take this region up here. And with that, we can actually filter per region. So let's say we want only South, let's say we want only South to show. You see that the table has become dynamic. We are seeing only south south, right? So let's say we want only southwest to show. We can click on it. We'll see it's only southwest that will show. So it all depends on what you want to do. And let's take it back down, the region part, because pivot table is a very awesome tool. So let me undo first. Let me ensure that everything. Let me undo. It did not. Let me click everything first. Okay, everything is showing. Now let me take the region back down, move it up a bit, right? And let me use brands. Let me see if I can filter with brands. Yeah. So and so much that you can do. If you want to see only Samsung, you created two. I think okay, that one has space. All right. So as you can see, it's showing you all the places, shops, or customers that bought Samsung. You see that out of the 6 sales, 4 were Samsung. So Samsung gives you an idea that Samsung is a moving brand. Let me do that correctly. I think something's up. Yeah. So by brand. So Samsung is moving, right? As you can see. So there are so many ways to look at data. It depends on what you want to do for the data. So let's take for instance, we want to plot some graphs. Let's plot a chart to show our data. Okay, by the way, before I proceed to that, let's rename this based on this. We can rename it regional sales because putting that number of this does not really make so much meaning. And you can put amount sold or revenue. I think that's a much better thing. Revenue. With that, you can see this. Very nice, very easy. Makes a whole lot of sense. And let me highlight this. Control A. Now, under the design, right, you can also change the design of your pivot table depending on what you want to do. So you can change it to this style, but I don't think that's really nice. It doesn't look good. You can change it to this. So you can change the style and the report layout. We can change it into different form of report layouts as you so choose. So it depends on what you want to show and what you want to make your customers, the management know, for instance. So you see this, it has helped us separate it, but I don't want this time. This is on outline. Yeah, and you can remove the subtotal. Do not show subtotals. You can remove it for you. So it all depends on what you want to do, right? So you can see only columns only. So many things you can actually do. Depends on how you want the report to be. Repeat labels and stuff like that. So with this now, we have removed those subtotals. We want to just know only what is the last value. And let's say we want to create a chart. Now, there are certain things for those three charts we are talking about, like pie charts, line charts, and bar charts. There are so many types of charts. I think we will still generate more information. We can do so many charts. So for me personally, there is not all kind of information. So it depends on the information you want to present. Will help you know the type of charts to use. For instance, a pie chart or a donut chart, the best form of information you want to present with a pie chart is if you want to do comparison within 2 or 3 numbers, ideally. Because once it's more than 3, 4, 5 numbers, it becomes so clustered. It does not really emphasize what you want to push or what you want to show, right? So let's say for line charts are good to show trend analysis. And what I mean by trend analysis, let's say you have a particular brand or product over time, like over 4 months, 5 months, you want to see how they have been faring. It will help you be able to know what is going on. And why bar chart is meant to show more of amounts, numbers, figures. It carries more weight. Because if you use like a pie chart to try and show these numbers like this, you want to just show numbers, it will not really help gravitate what you want to really do. So let's try and plot this um, on a chart. So let's say we want to do insert. We come to insert. Want to see, you see recommended charts. You can do this first or you can come straight here, depending. But in recommended charts do help because you can see different types of charts. See that you can see column charts. So let's do this, use this one. And it's a very dynamic thing that if, for instance, we change anything here, the values here will also change. And this is dependent on because of we have multiple items. So let's pick both the itel and the techno. And you see our charts have changed. You see how wonderful private chart can be, right? But this now with normal set of values, if you have a normal set of values, you can't easily change like this. It will not be dynamic. But with pivot chart or pivot chart, depending on how you pronounce it, will always help you. It will always change the charts for you. The order, how it will be, how it will look, and all. So let's say, for instance, this is our chart, and let's say we want to give this. It's not just enough to make it like this. Let's say we want to make it more standing out because now we are seeing these numbers, this looking at this is still not good enough for the basic. So we need to title this. Let's title this thing. So we can put this revenue. So let's put daily revenue. Let's just title it that. Or you can put your name of when you are practicing your own or your business revenue. So with this, we have put daily revenue. Let's say we want to shift this up. Yeah. So you can bold this also. Now to bold, the shortcut for bold is Control B. You can bold this. But already it gives you an idea, but it's not enough. You can still do more things. Now let's come to format. You can change the color and so many things here, but this is not what I'm looking for. We're done. Yes. Okay, so now I want to add data labels to this. It's very important. So they can easily, anybody that sees it can see the data easily. Oh, I wanted to highlight everything. Hold on. Now, it has highlighted everything. So with this now, we can add data labels. And once we do this, already you can see the amount on each of them. So the person doesn't really need to think too much. Oh, okay, this is the amount we sold the phone and stuff like that per region, depending on what we want to do. I think that's very basic and very explanatory. You can also change the colors depending on what you want. So let's say, for instance, you want the one that is the highest to be color green or something. You can change it to green or blue, as the case may be. No, I do not want that. So just want to change only the color. Sorry. Now I'm formatting this. I don't know why it's coming up, but I want to take it back to the bottom. I don't even want it safe. So let me get rid of this. So that's by the way. So yeah, I don't want that. So now you can see we have tried to change the color a bit, but there are still more complex ways of doing charts. But this is like the most basic way. So let's say for instance, I want to copy this so that I want us to have like something we want us to do. I want to take it down here. So I want to plot a pie chart based. I want it to be dynamic. I want to plot a pie chart based on this same info, based on the brands that we sold. Now, as you can see, it has also replicated the same data, but I want to get rid of certain things. Remove, remove, and I've moved the brand here, right? Because it's good to duplicate something like this if I want to do multiple um, analysis, because the thing is that if I didn't copy and I wanted to start changing things here, automatically our chart above will also change. So to avoid that, that's why I copied it down. And I don't want the revenue. I don't want number. I just want count. I want only count. So I can also come here. I want to go to value field settings. Sorry. So instead of sum, I can use the count. And once I click on count, it will count everything. So this will help us know, oh, how many types of the brand was sold. Right. Sorry for this Samsung. Something that yeah, you can clean up, but just to save our time, right? Now let's say we want to plot a chart for this information. We can come here, insert. Now this will be good for a pie chart or a donut chart. Information like this. So let's see. I want to use a donut chart. Okay, let me use a 3D pie chart. So with this, now a pie chart is good to show comparison of numbers. It helps. Now I can add data labels too. It's not bright enough. All right, let me change the color. I'm increasing the fonts. So something like this now. This is where pie chart is very good because it's few and you can see that, oh, Samsung really sold. That's why it's 3. That's why it's taking a lion's share of the sales. It's good to show for comparisons. That's when it's good to use pie chart the most between maybe quantity in numbers, not amounts. Right? So usually it's best to use it for when you are doing 2, 3 items, not so many. Because if you are trying to compare between 10 items, it's not really the best to use a pie chart. It will not convey the information as it's supposed to convey the gravity of the information. But now that it's few, it helps it. You can see that it's a bit better than this. Now, let's say we want to look at like a typical trend analysis. So let's create values and plot a chart irrespective of this so that we can fully understand why it's good to, or how well to use a line graph. So let me say, for instance, brands, once again, and I say Samsung, and I say iPhone, yes, for the iPhone users, and let's say Techno. Now, want to talk about this is, let's say, January 24, And the beautiful thing about Excel, it has helped me convert it to dates as if it knows my mind. And with dragging to the side, it will fill up the remaining months. Yeah, so these are the little things you begin to you when you start to use it more. Little things as Excel helps you do, and you get used to it. So let's say we want to just put some random numbers, 4,000, 25, and let's say this is quantity of amount sold, and let's say it increased to 6,000. This is just a rough analysis that I want to do. So let's say for the iPhones, quantity units sold. Well, a lot of people might not be using iPhone. So let's say it's 1.5, and month of February it increased, maybe because of Valentine. Let's just giving hypothetical situations here. People bought it for their loved ones. Then in March, it also dipped again. Let's say it dipped to like 1,800. Then for techno is like, I'm just using randomly on my head. Maybe fast moving, good 6,000. Then next month might have dipped a bit to like 4,000. Maybe it increased again to like 5,200 or something. Now, if we want to do a chart for this, let's say we want to insert a chart, right? You can come to recommended charts. It will already be bringing stuff for you. But this is where, for me, this is where line charts is good. It will show you the trend of things. That's why line chart, it can tell you, although this is because it's a hypothetical situation. Normally, real life, it usually follows a pattern most times. Activities happen that affect. I want to add the data labels to help us. So with this, it's helping us get the data label. It didn't do for all of them, sorry. Hold on. I want it to show for all of them. Okay, I didn't save it as a table. That's why it's struggling. But generally, we can add data labels all through to make it a bit better than what is, make it look more presentable. And you can change the style of your graph. So many things depending on what you want to achieve, right? So let's say we want to also change the chart design. There are different chart designs you can use. See, this is the dark way. So many ways you can put your information this way. No, I don't like that. So let's say we want to make it look dark a bit. So something like this, it works. And you can also change the color. You want this one to be ash or whatever color, something bright, so that it will stand out. You can color it yellow. Yeah. So I don't know why this is hanging. Laptop seems to be hanging. Anyways, so oh. So yeah, but basically you can do so much with to just show how to do charts. So as I mentioned, line charts are best used when you want to show trend analysis over time. You know how the behavioral pattern. Then when you want to show quantity, it's best to use a bar chart, and a pie chart is used for mostly for comparisons between items. But it shouldn't be too much because if not, it will lose this gravity of what you are trying to present. So I think that would be all from me. Yeah, I think we are good, and I think I've spent more than an hour. So I don't know, Dan, you can go go ahead. I don't know if there are any maybe quick questions I could just answer before the time runs out.
Okay. Thank you so much, IK. It's confirmed you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for paying attention. So we just want to leave the floor open to questions. Though within few minutes, I will just give some closeout remarks about what to expect for week 2. And then we call it a wrap for today. But I know we all have learned a lot, and just as I earlier stated, pivot table still saved me some minutes, and let me say increased my appraisal basis, because I was able to deliver to my superior within expected timeline just this Friday, yesterday, because of this knowledge. So it's very important we know this. And let me just ask us if you have a question. Mind you, this, as I stated, within 2 hours after now, will be uploaded into our YouTube channel for all of us to. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Akim. Thank you for that. Actually, live streaming on YouTube was no longer necessary because we did not have more than 100. So the current Zoom capacity we have can only entertain 100. We are over 200 in the community, plus every other person that may want to join for the first time. So since we are not up to 100, it means Zoom can still accommodate all of us. So I had expected everyone to come in. So the reason for live stream was, if Zoom is not enough, then we'll live stream so that every other person out there can have a feel of what is happening in the room. But immediately we started, and after about 30 minutes, we are still less than 50. There was no point doing that. So, but this will be uploaded into YouTube for all of us to make reference to afterwards. So, do we have any question? Our facilitator is here. Do you have any question? If the question is not here, like you are not ready to ask now, you can always have access to ask your questions via the community for those of us who are in the challenge group. Do you have anyone with a question? Any question around here, or probably something you've attempted before now, and you couldn't really get it, and it's within pivot table? So, Amara, okay. You can go ahead, Amara. Let's hear from you. Can unmute. Hi, Amara. You can go ahead to ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you are very audible.
All right. Good evening, everyone. IK, that was so nice. I really learned a lot. So my question is, where you were trying to combine two formulas, that place that has to do with trim and proper. I don't
Okay.
know. Did you click on, did you do trim then tab, or like as in I got
Yes,
lost here.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
normal
When
tab.
you do tab, yes, then you now type proper, then tab again, then the cell.
Okay. Does it work for other combinations of formula or just this particular one?
It might work with others. I've not tried with others, to be honest. But there's always to try and see. There's no harm in trying. So yeah,
All right. Okay. Thank you.
no problem. All right. Yes, least I forget. I didn't do data validation. Let me just quickly share my screen and let me show that. Yeah, very important, especially when you are dealing with people filling in information. Yeah, it really does help. Okay, sorry. So let me quickly go back to the table. So let's say, for instance, um, let me see. Okay, now let's say you want them. Let me say we want to insert a new column here. Let's say What term can I use? Okay, let me put shop. I'm just thinking maybe shop because it's different regions. So let's say shop, and the shop is in different locations. And let's say for the place in Abia, um, which town can I use in Abia? I really don't know much. Okay, Umahia. Let's say the shop is in Umahia, right? And the next one, Edo. So we can put Benin. And let's say Kwara, you can put Ilorin and you know Lagos. Lagos, you can put Ikorodu like that. Bayelsa. There's I'm just thinking off my head, but this because everything is unique. There will be situations where you have different things. But let's say it's just this list, and you don't want anybody to put more than this. You don't want any errors. You want to prevent errors. Yes, because it's very, very important to prevent errors in your data. If you have the opportunity to do so, please do so. Help yourself. Yes. All right. So now we have clicked on this column called shops. Then we are in the data tab. Now in the data tab, we'll come here under this part of data to near the text to column. You see all these beautiful icons. Yes, that is to help us. It can help you save your life when you are dealing with multiple data, actually when people are trying to impute data. So we have this part called data validation, so which is very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. So with this data validation now, we don't want to allow any value. No, we do not want that. Yes, for our peace of mind. So we use a list. Now from that list, it will ask you for the source. Then that source, you come and highlight this and press OK. And once you do that, the miracle has happened. So once you come to that column, you see that it's only what you have highlighted that will show as what can be picked. So if anybody tries to impute any other thing and you press enter, you see, it will not work. It will never work. So that is the thing about data validation. It will help you a lot, especially when normally you have a sheet and you expect different people to put their reactions. For instance, if you are doing a survey in the company or wherever, or among people, you want to get their feedback. That is why when you notice, when you maybe use a boat ride and everything, they'll tell you rate it by stars. So whether it's 1 star, 2 star, is a form of data validation. So that when they are analyzing it, they want to look by each driver, they can now know, okay, this driver is only having 3 stars. Maybe it's not good enough. That's why you will see a lot when some boat drivers start, you say, please give me 5 stars because it's important. Right? So you see the relevance of that. So that's a way of doing a level of data validation because if they leave it open to what you can type anything that you like, so people will say, that man is ugly or he can't drive well. His car is so smoking, so many and so. So they just want a rating system. So later they can go back and check the data. It is easier to operate and navigate. So yeah, that's all I can say for data validation. I think that should be all right. So Daniel, you can go ahead. Thank you. Daniel.
Yeah, Mia, thank you so much, IK, for that summary. So because of our time, do we have any other person with question? I remember I saw Jerry raised up his hand earlier. Jerry, can you proceed? Let's receive your question while every other person, you can throw your question into the general group. Jerry, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Ikechukwu, for that detailed class on pivots. And thank you for the session too. I just want to clarify most of the tools and the functions I see you use here in the pivot table similar to what you can find in sort and filter, right? So why is pivot table so germane, so necessary that you have to walk from there as against walking through or doing almost all of these things you've done on using the sort and filter tool?
Okay. All right. So, this is just like a demo. That's why it seems, oh, you can just do sort and filter. Let me give you, if you have a situation where you are having like 20,000 rows, 50,000 rows that you are meant to analyze and do, this is where pivot table becomes necessary and important. Now, because the data is small, hopefully, I will look for a really large data set, right? Maybe I and Daniel, then we'll now put it to the team to analyze, give us numbers based on this with a presentation, things like that. Because once you have a very large data set, you can't use sort and filter anymore. Will you now sort? Then you will now filter. Then now say, oh, at the end of it, the summation is this. You write it down. No, your bosses, your managers, people will want to see like probably a graphical representation. They want to see tables. They want a summarized table. They don't want to see the whole. They are not concerned, as I think maybe Daniel will reiterate on that. No manager, I will tell you, is ready to see the the individual rows and columns. They are not really concerned with that. They want to say, oh, out of the our 50,000 customers, right? We want to know how much did they pay. I want to see the table showing how much they paid, how in what months, what is the trend like, and so many other informations like that, where you will not, where sort and filter become very, very limited. The reason why it looks good is because because there are only 6 columns. If, for instance, this our data set was up to 30, you will appreciate it a bit more because will you start sorting each and every way like that on a very large data set. So, Jerry, what will happen? I will get a free large data set. I'll check and I'll share it on the group and probably like an assignment, like let's do a pivot table showing this, and this. And from your pivot table, we want so and so information from that table. So we can appreciate how we can use it really to help make managerial decisions. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Jerry, for that question. Facilitator have done justice to that, so there's no need for me to put any additional thought around it. I believe strongly we've all learned a lot today, and of course, we are living here as an improved aspiring analyst when it comes to Excel skills. But see, this is just the tip. Let me call it the tip of an iceberg, really, because you've just completed week 1, and this is day 7. As you can see, basic data cleanup, pivot tables, and charts, which you have done already. Confirm you can see my screen, everyone, or anyone can confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Desmond. So next week, we are looking into a much more advanced, we are entering intermediate. So that's why I call it Welcome to Intermediate Excel Skills Week 2. Advanced formulas and functions, data validation, conditional formatting, pivot tables, data analysis tools. So why are we positioning this live expert session ahead of each week? When you look at week 2, day 14, you will see Power Query and ADA functions. And when you look at week 3, we'll be looking at Power Query and Power Pivots and advanced data analysis functions in details. Is to prepare us to make it easy for us to understand the task and the courses we'll be doing. Because just as we said, this is not an academic course. This is not an e-learning platform. This is a challenge. We are challenging you to do the things we have asked you to do. So at the end of this course, you have the skill. If anybody wakes you up 12 midnight and to analyze the data within 1 hour and get $100, you'll be able to do it without calling IK, myself, or any of the experts within the community. Yourself. Of course, you may not get $100 for a simple analysis, but if you're able to get the side gigs, you could earn as much as that for some expert jobs that may require expert skills to handle. So, but notwithstanding, where I'm going is next week, even if you do not understand what you've been taught tonight, know that all you are going to do next week will require an in-depth of some of the things you have learned tonight. So what we have just done is to introduce this to you so that when you enter next week, it's not hard. And that's why you see that next week we wrote above 1 hour, because it will take more of your time. You watch more videos, you make more references to further learning links, to gain mastery. Well, mastery takes time, at least to have a foundation towards your mastery of some of these functions. So that's just it. You still have pivot table on day 12, and it will touch everything you have learned tonight and even more. Time wouldn't permit us to look into creating slicers. Everything our facilitator did earlier, you can join slicers to it. And there are a lot of magic you can do with pivot table as well. That time won't permit us because we limited this to just basic. So we don't open the whole gold bags, the gold in the bags in just tonight's session. So that's just it. There's a lot to learn. If you had not joined this challenge, unfortunately, you won't have access to these details. So, however, the second cohort is coming, and it will be better. As we keep doing this, it will become more better. So the second cohort is coming. It will still be this or something more, or watch out for that in sometimes October, September, October. But we have further challenges that speaks to the other tools we are focused on within the AMG community, which is our 5 focuses majorly is on Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, and Python. We believe that any aspiring analyst from any field, data, finance, business strategy, or whatever analysis field you specialize in, if you can understand these 5 tools, you have 3 out of them that is crucial for analysis and 2 for presentation. That is Power BI has both analytic strength as well as presentation strength. And then Tableau is strictly for presentation, and it also has some analysis function within it. So, and Python, of course, for much more predictive analysis, and advanced analytical language that you can use to do a lot of good things as well. So if you know these 5 things, you can get any job anywhere as an analyst in any field, and you'll be fine. No data set to give you any headache. And we're in the age of data, and that's why we encourage you to know this. But the starting point is Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is the #1 spreadsheet in the world, and I can say that for a fact. Most of the companies I have worked over the years, both multinationals and local giants, they all use Microsoft Office tools. Some are now going into Google Workspaces, and where you see Google BigQuery, Google Analytics, and all that. If you understand Microsoft Excel, you will be able to use Google Sheet very well, because they are not too far from each other. They are all spreadsheets. You understand? So that's why we encourage our community members to understand Excel first before going to those other tools. SQL and all these things, they are languages. SQL is a query language that is most used in an environment where you have a data warehouse to query data before you even begin to analyze or clean up and do all of that. So these skills, AMG will teach you over time, and we've adopted community-based learning to make this possible. So for all our students, prepare yourself for next week. Tomorrow, day 8, it's not a free day. We expect you to sit back, like the data sets our facilitator has mentioned today. We can replace what we have prepared with it for next week assessment. So next week assessment is sales data analysis and report. So everything you saw today, you'll be expected to create to analyze a very dirty, robust data set. And then whether you use pivot table or what, of course, we recommend you use pivot table because that's what you'd have been taught. Use pivot table to create your reports, your tables, and then create charts, reports. So everything we want to see will come with that assessment. And then you submit it. These are things you will use to build your portfolio afterwards. So that's just it about that tonight. I believe strongly we've learned a lot. Tomorrow, make sure you review this video, download the sheet. If you are not part of the learning group, download it from our YouTube page. It will be uploaded tonight for you to access for life. Download it, follow the video, practice it yourself. When you practice it, you know it. Even if you don't have anything to do, pivot table for another 6 months, you still remember if you had practiced. But if you don't practice it, the next time you see a rough data, you start going back to watch video because you even remember watching proper, you won't remember how to do substitute and all of those things you've been taught today. You won't remember them. Data validation, you remember. When you practice it, it helps you remember what you've learned easily. So we encourage you to do that. And then every subsequent question you can share it in the group. The learning group is open all through this weekend from now till Monday. So please, you can throw in your questions there. I am there. The facilitator is there. Other experts are there to look into. And you have colleagues. That's why we did this partners thing, accountability partner. There are some of your colleagues here. They are sound when it comes to basic Excel skill. Some of them are here mainly because of week 3. Some are here because of week 2 and week 3. So maybe that's someone you have as an accountability partner. He or she can guide you in getting a deeper understanding of week 1. Because see, if you don't know week 1, you will struggle in week 2. If you don't know week 1 and week 2, forget week 3. You can't jump to week 3. Even me, I've been using Excel for more than 5 years actively. In the last 2 years, much more actively. I can tell you, I'm still struggling with some aspect of week 3. That's the sincere truth. I may get some project that requires week 3 functions, and I may still have to make reference. You understand? That tells you how complicated. That's why we said above 2 hours. So please, take week 1 serious. Take week 2 much more seriously so that you won't struggle in the final stage. And that's just the update we have for us tonight. We hope to see you next week live sessions. And if you have joined us, do not forget, we have subsequent cohorts that you can be part of and maximize this skill. Thank you so much. I believe strongly we've learned a lot. Can you just use, before we call it a night, our time is up. Let's just use one word to remark, like to qualify what you have experienced tonight in the chat. Just use one word before we call it a night. What is that one word you would like to say about tonight's learning? Is it awesome? Is it great? Is it fantastic? Is it, good start, great start, or whatever it is you want to use? The few of us that are left, can we just drop that in the chat box? Can we drop that in the chat box? I'm waiting before we call it a night. While we do that, thank you so much, IK. We are so glad to have you in our midst tonight, to have come to impact our students. Thank you so much also for being in the community to be available to support further than this session. For your time that you've shared, we are grateful. Thank you. And thank you every other person that joined. Fantastic. Thank you, Juliet, for that feedback. Who else? I just need 4 more and then I'll call it a night. Who else want to speak to it? Very insightful. Awesome. Thank you, Amara. Thank you, Desmond. Thank you, Tohib. Thank you. That's great. Those are direct feedback to our facilitator. Thank you, Chineye. Thank you so much for that. So on this note, I will call it a night. Let the interaction continue in the group. Let the interaction continue. Great session. Great. Thank you, Kenny and Jerry. Thank you for those feedbacks. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'll be here till we all leave. So I don't just want to exit. In case you still have any question, please feel free to throw it into the community. Reach out to any of the admin or myself, and we are here. See, we are here because of you guys. We are here because of you. So there's no other reason why we are here in this community is for you to be the best version of yourself when it comes to you having this skill. And that's the core for AMG. We believe mastery is possible. It may take time, but this is the baby steps you need to take to become a master in any of these tools. And then you can find yourself anywhere in the world creating value and impact as an analyst. Thank you so much, everyone. Do have a pleasant evening. To our students, expect further updates tonight. For those of us in the learning group and those in the larger community, still expect our YouTube link tonight to maximize tomorrow, Sunday, to learn, maybe after your various religious activities. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a pleasant night rest. Thank you.